O Lord, open our lips, and we will declare your praise. This morning we read Deuteronomy chapter 11 and 12. Chapter 11 deals with this generation, the generation to whom it was written, had seen the great miracles of God. They'd seen him deliver them from Egypt. They'd seen him care for them and provide food for them in the desert. They'd seen his judgment on those who rebelled against him. They'd seen the great miracles of God. How were they to pass this information on to the next generation? Was the command to set up schools or to set up Sunday schools? Or was the command to hold youth clubs and youth meetings and that way, with the youth pastor, educate the children? No, the method God gave them to educate their children was this: talk about them. Talk about these great miracles that God has done. Talk about the things the Lord has done when you're in your home, when you're walking along the street. Make them the topic of your conversation. Write them on your doorposts. Decorate your houses with the stories of the great miracles God has done. The primary place for educating children in faith is the home. The primary people who are to be used to bring children to know the Lord are the parents, the family. What do you talk about in your family? What's your topic of conversation? Is it ever the gospel message? Is it ever the stories of the Bible? Is it ever the things the Lord has done in your life? Or is the conversation in your family about football or about cricket or about school or about work? These things are okay to talk about, but make sure that mixed in there you're talking about the things of God. In some families, sadly, the only thing that gets mentioned is, oh, it's time for church on Sunday morning. The rest of the week there's no mention of the things of the Lord. If you want your children to grow in the faith, and this should be the most important thing for every parent, then we need to be talking about the things of the Lord in our home. Chapter 12 deals with appropriate worship, and it says don't copy the worship of the nations round about. It's not acceptable to come to God in any old way. We need to come to him in the way that he prescribes. In the Old Testament there were clear rules for how they approached the temple and how they brought their worship. In the New Testament there is this one: we are to come in spirit and in truth, not in emotion, not in falsehood, not in pretense, but in spirit and in truth. Let's make sure that we talk about the things of the Lord, and let's make sure that we're worshipping him in the prescribed manner. The Lord bless you today. Amen.